Hello everybody, this is Zuri from The Pinnacle and I welcome you to my very first video on number sequence. Okay, so here we have a sequence and I'll show you how to solve the sequence by figuring out the pattern, and I'll also provide you with the formula in case you need it. So when we're talking about a number sequence, we have to find out the pattern first, and in order to find out the pattern, we look at the first and the second term of the sequence. So here you go. 15 was the first term and 29 is the second term. So when I was working on the sequence, I noticed that you can you can time 15 by 2 and then subtract 1 in order to find out 29. So let's have a look. There you go. 15 times 2 is 30. Subtract 1. You got 29 right there. Okay, so does the same operation apply for the second and third term? Can we use the same procedure on the second term, which is 29, in order to find the third term? Let's go and have a look. So there you go. 29 times 2 is 58, and we subtracted 2 from this one in order to find 56. Okay. So we're still multiplying, but the subtrahend is changing here. So let's look at term 3 and 4 of the sequence right there. 56 and 108. How do we get 108? Okay, so there you go. 56 times 2 is 112 right there, and this time we subtract 4 from 112 to get 108. Alright, so looks like we have to time the previous term by 2 and then subtract in order to find the next term of the sequence. But what are we subtracting? Looks like excuse me, the subtrahend is changing. Well, I mean, it's being multiplied by 2 as we progress into the series. But let's confirm it. Let's look at the fourth and the fifth term of the sequence and see what's happening there. So we have 108 here times 2 equals 216, and we subtract 8 from 216 in order to find out 208, which is the fifth term of the sequence here. So looks like we multiplied the previous subtrahend by 2 in order to get this subtrahend here. So 4 was the previous subtrahend, the subtrahend we used to find the fourth term of the sequence, and then excuse me, we multiplied 4 by 2 in order to get 8, and that's our excuse me, that's our next subtrahend. Well, that's our subtrahend in order to that helped us to find this term 208. Okay, so let's venture into the next step. What comes after 208? Let's have a look. So there you go. 208 times 2 is 416, and then minus 16. So we used the previous subtrahend here, 8. We timed it by 2, we got 16. Let's just write it out here. 8 times 2, which is equals 16. Okay, equals 16. So 416 minus 16 gives you 400. Comprende? Okay, let's write it out here, and then figure out what the next term is. Alright, so we have 400 times 2 is 800 minus 32. Once again, where does this 32 come from? We use the previous subtrahend, 16 times, and we timed it by 2, equals 32. So 800 minus 32 gives you 768. So let's write it out here, 768. Alright guys, so here's our formula for the sequence we worked on, and it goes like xp plus 1 equals 2xp minus 2 to the p minus 1. I understand that this could be troubling for a lot of you, so I'll try to explain it to you as much as possible. So p plus 1 here is a subscripted part, and p here is subscript as well, but p minus 1 is superscript, so you can also write this part exclusively. You can punch it into your calculator, your scientific calculator, as this. Okay, so what is x? So x is any term of the sequence. So here, just look at this. It could be 15, 29, 56, 760. It could be any of this term. But how do we figure out? How do we know what what to use, which term to use in order to figure out the next next term of the sequence. Okay, that's when we use p, which is the location of the term in the sequence, and p starts at 1. So have a look here. For p equals 1, x equals 15. So x1 equals 15. So 1 here is the value of p, right there, right here. For p equals 2, x is 29, right there. See, x2 equals 29. P equals 3, x is 56, and so on. Okay. And so let's have a look at this formula and try to solve one together, which I have right here. So let's solve for p equals 1. So we plug in x1 plus 1 equals 2 times x1 minus 2 to the 1 minus 1. Okay, now if you see, look at this part, 1 plus 1 is 2, so x2 equals 2 times 15. 15 is x1, minus 2 to the 0, which is 1, equals 30 minus 1 equals 20. So there you go. This is, excuse me, this is how you utilize the formula to find out the next term in the sequence. But remember you must know the pth term of the sequence. Okay, if you do not know the pth term, you cannot use this formula. So yeah, anytime we're missing one of the p values, or one of the x values that correspond to a p value, we won't be able to excuse me, utilize this formula here. So that's when we have to go back and use our previous calculation procedure that's been mentioned over here in order to find out the next number in the sequence. Okay, but right now it's good to go, for since we have the seventh term, and 7, like p equals 7 and p x equals x7 equals 760. We can easily utilize this formula and get the 8th term, 9th term. But even when I was calculating these terms over here, like 29, 56, 108, I was I was utilizing this part of the formula when I asked you to get the subtrahend from the previous subtraction and times it by 2, and you use it in the current calculation. Just have a look here. 8, right? 8 times 2 is 16. So it's just, we raised the power of 2 basically, and that's how we figured out the next term of the sequence. Alright, so if you have any more question, please comment below, and I do thank you for watching my video.